Today we'll talk about UCM 6202 call features. The first call feature is conference. So you can create a conference room using the conference feature. There's a default extension number which is 6300. There's an option to have the conference in public mode, in which case there will be no password and anyone can join the conference by dialing extension 6300. However, it is recommended to have public mode off and create a password. There are two options to set up: a user password and a moderator password. In this field, we can create a schedule for our conference. I'll put the conference subject as marketing. Take-in time means the time before which the user cannot be able to dial into the conference, and the duration of the conference is 30 minutes. I'm putting the schedule as 19th of April. And the conference will occur at 3:40 p.m. So we save the settings. Over here we see the details of our conference. Under this screen, we can retrieve the conference recordings. We can search by date and time. You're also able to create video conferences with the UCM. Video endpoints are required for video conferences. The default extension is 6301. I am creating a conference schedule. It's the same way we create the audio conference schedule. We give it a time zone, and we schedule a date and time and the duration of the conference. The next very important feature of the UCM 6202 is the IVR, which is the automated attendant. This feature enables us to have the UCM receive the calls automatically and route them according to the program that we set up here. IVR means interactive voice response. Here we are in the settings. So under the basic settings, any field that has an asterisk beside it is mandatory. So we have to fill in this name for our IVR. I will put the name as receptionist, or I'm going to put it as automated attendant. You can put any name you like. In this case, the Grandstream told me that there has to be no spaces, so I put AA, which is an abbreviation of auto attendant. Extension is 7000. So as we read in the description, it enables the caller to do any of these if we select these features under this screen. So anyone calling in can dial the extension, or they can be placed in call queue. Similarly, they'll be able to join the conference, or they can be routed to a ring group, voicemail group, dial by name. So right now I'm choosing these 4 options. Over here we can create a IVR blacklist or whitelist. So if I create, or if I enable this option, I have to specify which extensions will be allowed for the IVR to dial to. In this case, extension 1000, 1001, and 1002 are the extensions which will be allowed to be dialed by the caller. Or we can configure the blacklist instead of having the whitelist. So I configured a blacklist here in which I put the extension number 1005. For now, I am disabling the black whitelist option, and we come down to prompt. This is the welcome greeting that the UCM is going to play when the caller dials into our number. We can have a custom message, or we can leave this as the UCM default. In this case, I'm leaving this as UCM default. As it shows, this is the number of responses, after which the UCM will direct the calls to the timeout destination. I'm going to save this setting. And I will go back and move on to the next option, which is key pressing events. Now this is also very important because this determines where our call will be routed. So after playing the greeting message, the user is going to be able to dial an extension, go to voicemail, go to conference room, and then there are several other options that we can specify in key pressing events. So in creating an example here, I'm putting press the first key. I'm assigning the first key to extension 1000, the second key to 1001, and the third key to 1002. Although I selected the ring group, but there is no extension configured on the ring group as for now. That's why it's not showing anything in the right side menu. The next option that we have that we can configure is the voicemail. So I went back to the auto attendant, and I'm configuring extension. I'm assigning key 5. I'm assigning key 4 to the voicemail. So whenever caller dials in and they press the key number 4, is going to go to the voicemail of extension 1004. The same way I can add a group voicemail. I can have my ring groups, which is the next option. With the default extension 6400 assigned to the ring groups. So I'm adding these extensions to my ring group. In this case, my ring group points to the extension group, accounting. There are more options we can configure for our ring group. Under ring group options, we can have a ring strategy. So you can choose from the two, ring simultaneously or ring in order. This is how our extensions will ring when the option is selected in the IVR. So I'm assigning key number 5 to our ring group, which is accounting. The paging intercom option allows us to broadcast to a group of extensions. The intercom can be one-way or two-way. So I'm selecting the two-way intercom option, and I put the name of my intercom group over here. And I've assigned extension 9000 to my intercom group. Next, I'm going to select the extensions which will ring when the extension 9000 is pressed. And again, I can have a paging intercom whitelist. I can automate the process by creating scheduled paging in intercom under this screen. Another very advanced feature of the UCM is call queue. Call queue is used in call center settings. The default extension for the call queue is 6500, and we have all these strategies that we can select from. Any strategy selected here will be applied to the extensions which are in the call queue. So we're naming our call queue as call center. Normally under call center settings, the IVR is configured in such a way that any call that's going to come in will be automatically placed in the call queue. Later on, I'm going to show you how to configure the IVR for call queue. Here I'm going back to the IVR screen, and under key pressing events, I'm assigning key number 6 to the call queue, which is our call center, which we just configured in the previous section. I'm going back to my inbound routes. because I want to change the default destination, which currently is by BID. I'm going to change my default destination to point to our auto attendant, which is the IVR. Any call that comes in is going to go directly to the auto attendant. I'm going to save the settings. What I can also do is I can skip the IVR and I can put the queue here so that incoming calls goes directly to the queue instead of the IVR. And our queue here is the call center. I'm just checking my call queue settings. Right under the default destination option, we have the time condition. The UCM allows us to configure the incoming calls and to route them depending on the time condition. So we can specify a time during which the calls will be routed to a specific destination. So in this case, just for an example, I'm putting the destination as call queue, which is our call center, and the time condition I'm putting as the office time. So any calls that arrive during the office times will be routed to the call queue, which is our call center. There are a few options that I can select. So what I've selected is that any call that arrives after the office time is going to go to voicemail 1000, which is a user voicemail box. We have multiple modes under inbound route. There's a default mode and there's a mode 1. We can also specify pickup groups, which is the next option under the UCM call features. So I'm creating a group and I'm naming the group as marketing. I am assigning extensions 1001, 1002, and 1003 under the marketing group context. I've created another group which is sales. I'm going to put extension number 100. So instead of creating sales, I'm creating a group which is which I've named accounting, and I'm creating another group which is marketing. And I'm putting the extension group marketing under the marketing context for pickup groups. Under accounting, I'm putting the accounting group, which is another extension group. The UCM 6202 has an option to dial by name, and the default extension is 7101. And again, I've selected all the extensions under this menu. So whenever someone calls in, they have an option to dial by name. The next option under the UCM 6202 call features is the speed dial. Speed dial allows us to assign a key to a speed dial group, and then we have many different options under the default destination. ASA is commonly known as Direct Inward System Access. It's a feature offered by UCM that gives the user the ability to call from outside using the cell phone or a landline, and then dial out via the SIP trunk or PSTN trunk, which is connected to the UCM, as it is an internal extension. So I'm creating a new DISA here, and I'm assigning this a password. So it will have the permission to dial any national number. that under the IVR menu, I'm going to assign key number 7 to the DISA. So when a caller calls in and they hit the key number 7, they will be directed to the DISA, from where they'll be able to call their desired national number from the SIP trunk. The next very useful feature of the UCM 6202 is the feature codes. So these are the shortcuts which we can use to allow the UCM to perform different functions. And these numbers will be appended by a star or a hash. So under this screen, we see that the do not disturb feature can be activated by pressing the *77 key and deactivated by pressing the *78 key. Similarly, the call for busy active can be activated by pressing the *90 key and deactivated by pressing the *91 key. Then we have the call for no answer active, which is activated by *92 and deactivated by *93, and the call for unconditional activated by *72 and deactivated by pressing the *73 key. In addition to these, there are a number of feature codes which the UCM have. All the details are under the feature codes menu. We can also create a fax extension. And this extension will be able to receive faxes over here. I'm creating a new fax extension, which is 7200. Since the UCM will also be able to forward the fax to email, so I'm naming this extension as fax to email, and I'm putting the email address in the email address field. So when a fax is received at extension 7200, the fax will be forwarded to an email address specified as an attachment. Again, I go back to my IVR and I am assigning key number 8 to the fax. Another very important feature of the UCM 6202 is the parking lot. Parking lot is a feature that allows someone to receive the call at any extension. I'll give you an example. If a call comes in and a user is in the accounting department, the accounting department extension is 1006. The call is received at extension 1001, which is the sales. So the person at extension 1001 will put the call in the parking lot, and they will notify the person at extension 1007 that there's a call for him or her, and they can easily dial the number of the parking lot and retrieve their call from that extension. So I'm assigning extension 6767 to the parking lot. Over here we can specify the parking slots. So I want to see which available extensions I have to specify to the parking lot. So I go back to the parking lot, and I see here that the parking lot has assigned itself a range of extensions from 701 to 720, and there's a parking lot default extension which is 700. So that means that we do not have to change anything, since the UCM has its own pre-assigned extension and it has its own settings, which I'm going to leave at default. What this means is that the user who wants to retrieve a call from the parking lot has to dial any number between 701 to 720. However, when the user calls into the parking lot, which is 700, the parking lot is going to tell him with a voice prompt which parking slot has his call on hold. And then the user has to dial that number to retrieve his or her call. The next configurable feature of the UCM 6202 is the emergency call feature. I'm putting the emergency call number as 911. And as you notice that I have selected the analog trunk, which is connected to the UCM, to be used to make emergency calls. And then I have to add the extensions to be notified whenever that emergency call is made. So I will choose extension 1000, which is the extension which is going to be notified when this emergency call will be made. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.